At 11 a.m. today, freight forwarders at the Tema port were still wondering what the whole CTN policy was about. The few who had gone through the compliance process went through the process freely without the demand for CTN documentation. Some of the freight forwarders who spoke to City News demanded answers to their concerns.
What at all is their interest? Now CTN, you are going to pay. With which finances are you going to pay for the CTN? You understand? We are telling us that they fit targets and stuff like that. How many months now? If you are my importer and you don't import, how would that work? It's going to create unemployment. If I've employed five each, multiply. We are going to sit home. How will the country move forward, my brother?
We are stakeholders, customs, freight forwarders, and then the importers associations. We are all stakeholders. So whatever affects the importer automatically affects the freight forwarder. Because the more the freight forwarder imports and make profit, it will in turn increase its import, which I will also get more containers or more cargo to clear. So in that sense, if the importer is having challenges, automatically it will boil down to the freight forwarder as well.
Just like the members of the field, the president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Kwabena Ofuswapia, described the rollout of the policy as unfortunate.
If I have to gauge it from my mood, it is an unfortunate occurrence. Very, very unfortunate. You have heard Kuta this morning. I have heard Dr. Albin speak, and this is not what we call for. This is not for whatever that they call concession. These are not the things that we discuss at any meeting. So if this is how they are going to roll it, maybe very early days yet, we'll see what happens by the end of the day. Probably by tomorrow, subsequent actions will be announced.
However, the executive president of the Chamber of Freight and Trade, Dennis Amfosefa, was excited about the rollout of the policy.
We are glad and very okay that the government of Ghana, GRA, Customs Division, has rolled out perfect and a well-thought-through program like the CTN, which in effect is going to come improve on revenue mobilization for customs and GRA in Ghana as a whole. When we made our case to the GRA on certain aspects of the implementation of CTN, they took it in good faith, and if you can see, the final product has had some changes made to that. The shipment or importers that do less than 3 containers in a year are exempted, but then they should be registered with GRA, and also the cost element has been taken away and being borne by GRA now for the time being. And they want to run a pilot program for 6 months to see the effectiveness of the CTN and the outcome, so that we'll meet again as stakeholders and judge and see the best way forward.
The policy, which was introduced in July this year, was suspended following apprehension by some importers and freight forwarders who claimed the policy is a duplicate of an existing one. About 3,000 importers, representing 5% of all importers in the country, are tagged to go through the system because their imports exceed 36 20-foot equivalent. The remaining 95% who import less will not go through the system. Per the policy, importers would now have to provide data on their cargo from the country of origin to the customs division of the GRA before their goods arrive in the country. The recent opposition to the policy is from a freight forwarder who has filed a case in court seeking an injunction on GRA from implementing the policy. But speaking at a news conference today, Commissioner General of the GRA, Emmanuel Kofi Inti, said the system will save the country millions of cedis.
The CTN system provides the following benefits: reliable trade database, reliable and transparent data validation source, real-time trade data, opportunity for short turnaround time for clearance at the ports, and reduction in costs at the ports, since payment of demurrage fees will be a thing of the past. The CTN provides benefit not only to GRA, but other government agencies and institutions. At the Customs Division level, it provides a risk assessment engine to swiftly and proactively address major trade malpractices in the import revenue mobilization process. Reliability of weights and volumes, country of origin, declared value and the real nature of the goods, and finally, facilitate the movement of legitimate trade, as well as improving and modernizing customs operations. For the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, CTN will help in a broader and more comprehensive view of global logistic chain and timely receipt of manifests for effective planning. For the Ministry of Finance, it will help in revenue forecasting. For the Bank of Ghana, it will help in the forecasting of currency flows from the maritime industry. In the case of Ministry of Health, to allow for close monitoring and control of prohibited pharmaceutical and medical products. On the part of the Ministry of Trade, CTN provides a reliable and early statistics to ascertain level of imports for strategic economic decisions. For the Ministry of Interior and Defense, monitoring of importation of weapons. At the National Development Planning level, CTN will ensure reliable trade database for strategic national planning. And lastly, but not the least, for the Association of Ghana Industries, local industries can now compete effectively with foreign imports.
The GRA also says enough consultations have already gone on with stakeholders and therefore it will not suspend the policy.
One did not understand what CTN is, the process. And some even have to buy things from different sources. One may come with just one container, 2 containers. So realize that going forward, such traders will be exempted from the CTN. So it means they are not going to go through all the processes. They are not going to upload their documents. They are operating the same as it is now. Nothing of sort of CTN. Probably if their turnover increases beyond the threshold that we have agreed, then we will then write them formally. So what it means that anybody who is going to operate CTN, we are going to write them formally. Letter from GRA that because of your transaction or your data, now you have to cover all your containers or bill of lading with CTN number.
With the GRA's insistence to go ahead with implementation of the new policy, importers would have to brace themselves in order not to clash with officials of the Customs Division and also not to pay too much in demurrage. Reporting from the GRA head office here in Accra, I am Nano Yankra for City News.
So that was Nana Oyi Ankra's report from the press conference held by the Ghana Revenue Authority. Before that, we saw a report by Elvis Washington, who is our Tema correspondent, on how the implementation actually has gone so far with regards to the first day of implementation. Now, let me come into the studio. Let me begin with my guests. First, I will start from my far left, ask Mr. Yankee. We saw a report on the implementation of the CTN, that's the cargo tracking note, for the first day at the ports. We saw the agitation and the fact that some people, the freight forwarders, people who are stakeholders with the GRA in ensuring that the ports run and we get the needed revenue, are not happy. From your viewpoint, from the viewpoint of the GRA, how has the first day been?
Thank you. I would say that change is something a lot of people find it very difficult to accept. So I'm not surprised people are expressing their reservation about what is happening with the introduction of the CTN. So for us, we are losing revenue, real revenue. So we have to do something about it. So we see the CTN as a fun solution for the trade malpractice that is going on at the ports.
But really, what is the case for CTN? Because in the past times, we've heard of GCNet, which was to put in place the IT infrastructure to be able to monitor real time. Then we heard about destination inspection companies. We heard about West Blue. We heard about single window. Last year we heard about paperless. Now we're talking cargo trading, cargo tracking note, the CTN system. What is really the case for the implementation of this CTN at our ports?
In all this, we started nominating from the SAD and then the inspection, destination inspection. We are all talking about the automation of our processes and procedures. So I think the CTN is the last point where maybe it's one of the chain.
What is it about the CTN?
It's about we are automating so that in real time you can get information from the country of origin to customs to use that information so that there won't be any interference with information received from the source to work. That's all about CTN.
But what has been the shortfall so far?
Oh, we realize that the classification of goods or products to us, at times you don't see how it should happen. And people use low-rated products to conceal high-rated goods. So if we are somebody who have been charged, we have the mandate to get revenue for the state, you won't sit down to let this thing continue. There should be a change. And we think that the CTN is the solution to the trademark practice we have identified with our process. That's why we are going for the CTN. And I know those who are not happy, they will not be happy. And we are talking to them, so I know they will come on board. So it's a good thing.
Let me move to Mr. Kron now. Mr. Kron, the freight forwarders over the past few years have been gaining a certain reputation at the port for being very change averse. I mean, if I cannot remember much, last year when the paperless system was about to be rolled out, there was such agitation, but the GRA went ahead and then other actors went ahead and implemented it. What Mr. Yankee here seems to be talking about and what the commissioner said in the report seems to be very beautiful ideas that will even lessen the burden in terms of how effective your work is being done. What from this opposition to it? What's the case for your opposition to this?
Thanks, my brother, but very much to the contrary. We're not always averse to policies that have been, so I need to, get that factory. In fact, I was in your studio here when the paperless, had to start, and I was in the studio here at CTFM and defended to a hilt what the vice president wanted to bring.
There were some freight forwarders who were against it.
Of course, I mean, you would always find a situation where you didn't find 100%, but as leadership of GIF, we cheered our people on that this was for the best, and so we had to come along with it. And basically, the truth of the matter is the vice president's blueprint had been followed, religiously. In the paperless situation, look, we wouldn't be where we are now. Anyway, that's another matter for another day. So back to the CTN issues. Look, I listened to the Commissioner General today, and believe me, I am saddened.
Why?
See, if we are going to bank all out, if I listen to what he said, and all the claims that they make that CTN can do, believe me, you need the customs to just go sleep, because then it means CTN will just deliver. It's like Jesus Christ. Look, since January, we've been at this. We sent a 14-page document to the Commissioner General telling him what the CTN would not do, because this is nothing new. In 2015, the Shippers Authority had come in with ASHI, Advanced Shipment Information. Now, this was actually, there were statutes covering this particular product. It's called the ASHI, the Advanced Shipment. This is covered by LI 2190, Section 9. It talks about ASHI. In the Schedules 3 to 5, it will tell you the form in which it has to take and everything, and all the fees. The whole structure was there. So, we were against that because there were pertinent issues that we raised. Even in that case, it was legal. It had gone through Parliament and all. So there was statute. Even then, we raised certain pertinent issues. And so that policy had to be suspended by the government.
Which was the ASHI.
Exactly. 3 years down the line, we have CTN coming in. Same thing. No difference. And believe me, our questions, because we've been persistent. The questions that we asked then are the same questions we are asking now. Even now, it is worse, because as we speak, this has not gone to Parliament, it is not covered by any law, and there are serious legal issues therein.
So the fundamental issue is legal?
Not that's just one of them. Costs, time of doing business, and all that. And the replicating what is happening now.
But Mr. Akron, this is, well, let's say the CTN is in line with international best practice, at least if a careful reading or research of what is going on in various sports around the world, in the European Union, even in Nigeria, would show that there is some conformity to some protocols and ISPs that almost all countries are implementing, and it's in line with the international best practice. So why would the freight forwarders who understand that this is where international trade is heading towards not be willing to understand the implementation of such a policy?
It's good you talked about international, and this is not in line with international trade, believe me. Because what happened? How did CTN come about anyway? This whole tracking notice. After 9/11.
After 9/11, yes.
The US decided to do CT part. So what did they say they were going to do? That for every box that was going to enter the country, they needed to make sure that it had no arms or weapons, anything that could hurt its people.
And indeed, what is inside is really what we say is inside.
Exactly. So what did they do? They put boots on the ground in every country where they were going to export goods into the United States to make sure that what was going into the boxes were really what they said it was, and then they put their seals on it. If they went there, they had agents on the ground to do that. So that was just it. Now the world round thought that, okay, this was a good idea, so why do we just limit it to what the US is doing, so that everybody who belongs to the World Trade Organization should be able to do same and protect each other. So as we speak, any container that leaves Ghana is necessarily scanned, and the national security makes sure that what is in there is what they say it is, and then before it leaves. The same coming here is what happens. So what are the claims of CTN when it came? It says, okay, first of all, it came on three things. It says it was going to do valuation assurance. 2, it's going to check weights. 3, for security. Okay, now let's break all this down. Why do we think it can't do anything about security? Number one, CTN has no boots on the ground in any country as we speak. So they cannot, and I repeat, they cannot.
That's with regards to the company that has been given the authorization.
Exactly.
So we're talking CTN Ghana.
Exactly, CTN Ghana Limited. Okay? They have no boots on the ground in any country in the world to be able to confirm what has been put in the place in the container, and then that is coming to Ghana. When we question the...
But not to cut you, but would that be necessary? If it's a global platform and those at the other end can access the information and cross-check, must they have boots on the ground everywhere to get that done?
How do you confirm what is going into the container if you're going to secure it? Why did the US have boots on the ground to make sure physically that this is what is going in? So that has been taken care of because the world over, the boxes coming here are also scanned and they make sure that it's secured. Okay? So that's taking, so that is not for you to do. You cannot do it. Number 2, weight. We are signatories to an international convention, the safety of life at sea, SOLAS, the SOLAS Convention. Part of the things that the SOLAS Convention seeks to do, one of the major things it seeks to do is that every container that leaves any country to go on the vessel should be weighed. It has to be weighed. And the weight placed on the manifest and on the bill of lading. So that is taken care of. He cannot lay claim to that. You understand? As we speak, no container leaves Ghana without being weighed properly and the weight given to the, the master of the ship before he moves the vessel. You cannot get a container on board without that. So that is sorted. The third one is what? Valuation assurance.
Yes.
Now, how do you intend to do this? As we speak, CTN is a stand-alone portal. Okay? It is in no way connected to any portal, customs portal outside Ghana. No way. And the consultant himself has confirmed that. Even in Ghana, it is not connected to any of the known customs portals, be it GCNet or be it the power system. Okay? So, what does it seek to do? It says, go and place, put these documents, all right, scan them and put them on my portal. What documents are these? Scan your parking list, your invoice, your bill of lading. And then the fourth one, which is the dicey one, is the export declaration. Okay, why is he asking for these documents? One, you say you're going to do pre-validation. Okay, when you want to validate something, it means I'm comparing two articles. I want to compare this to that. Okay, what are you comparing to if you are not connected to the customs portal outside Ghana? Okay, so it's basically using your own documents and the export declaration, thinking that the invoice that you use to prepare that export declaration in the foreign country is what, once he has that declaration, then it means he can use that to, you know, kind of do some comparison. Now, that is no validation. Because at the end of the day, the trader is the originator of the trade. If he comes to the forwarder in Japan or in Brazil and gives him a fake document and says, look, this is my invoice, this is how much I bought this thing, that Japanese forwarder or Brazilian forwarder is not going to go to town and go and check how much you bought these things. It's not his business.
Which means that despite the unique CTN number on it, the Japanese or the Brazilian forwarder cannot access it anywhere.
Cannot access what? He cannot
find the purpose of this whole CTN is for it to be tracked. So if it gets to the point and it cannot be tracked, then what is the
point? The thing is that what he's placing there is what you have given him, which is just what we're doing here now, because we have the pre-arrival and pre-arrival and assessment system now, which is the pass. Okay, what does the pass do? If you ship goods in Brazil today and you have your bill of lading today, you have the invoice, you have the parking list, if you sent it to me by mail today, I can apply to the customs on pass. It will take the ship 3 months to get here. If I apply using these documents on pass, customs can do all the checks they have to do. And what happens? I get my CCVR, the Customs Classification and Valuation Report. It's the same thing. If I put on any, mischievous put on any trashy document, excuse my language, for a choice of words. If I put on any document outside, it's just garbage in, garbage out. He has no way of confirming verify none, zero.
Well, I'll come back to you, Mr. Yankee, for you to respond to the concerns, because if, the summary of what he said is that, one, virtually what we say we are coming to do now exists. Two, there is no means of valuation assurance, and the three, the main reason why this is being put in place, really, the system does not make that, but we'll come to that. But let me come to you, Mr. Benjamin Yeboah. There is an exemption. What is being implemented? There is an exemption for there are some concessions for some of the traders, and because you are the importers, really the traders, for those who do not exceed the 36 TEU limit, which is usually the medium and the 20 foot, which is usually the medium and then the small holder importers, which I presume are largely your members, are exempted from this. So why would you also be against this? Because presumably most of your members are exempt from this. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Duke, thank you very much. The point is that we are quite worried about what is going on. Because when they brought on CTN in the initial stages, we did not hear of anything that you are talking about. They brought it in, we got some education, we realized that, look, there's a lot of questions being asked. Okay. So we wanted to be convinced. We asked so many questions, they came back. They said, oh, the point is that we are going to make sure that small to medium scale, business people, importers are removed. Then we asked the next question. So how do you classify a small to medium scale?
Yeah.
Then they go back and then come back and said, oh, if you don't import, let's say, more than 36, let's say 20 footers, then you are classified per their classification. You are classified as a small to medium scale. Then we said, so we as Guta, we still have those who import more than the 36 containers we are talking about. And we speak for them too. So what we do? Then they go and then come back again, and they tell us, oh, they tell us that we are just targeting 5% out of the importing public. So don't worry. See, it makes us worried. Why? Because, why? Because now you are not being consistent. The thing is that customs, we heard some years back that you are ready to really do the job. So we should do away with destination inspectors, the DICs. You have all that it takes to do the job. Now you were enumerating them, all those systems that has come to play. What are they doing? They are all to ensure that they are able to do their job. Now after all these years, you come and tell us that you can't really do the job. And you have to go in for a third person now to do the job. And even from what we are hearing, the third person is really actually going for some information which cannot really be authenticated. Seriously. So what is it? So you move us out, you place on few people. Now what is the guarantee that come about 6 months in your operation, you don't come and tell us? Because we've seen your trend. You go and you come, you go and you come. You come back and tell us that you are coming to rope all us in, because after all, you are not even getting the 5% targeted group that you are
so you
at.
Don't trust
what
they've told you. But it could also be as a result of being able to assimilate your concerns. That's why it looks like they are shifting goalposts.
But see, that is where I should also place some trust. So now, if you were in my shoes, will you be trusting what is going on? So now we don't really trust what is happening. Because now we can say that comes from few months' time. You can come back and tell me, oh, Massa, now those targeted group, they've lost interest in doing business in Ghana. Now I don't have any target again. So now I have to rope you all in. What do we see at that time?
Well, this is Point of View on City TV. My name is Duke Mensopoko. I'm sitting in for your regular host, Bernard Avle. We're talking the controversy surrounding the cargo tracking notes CTN system. So far, we've heard the basic arguments for the proponents, that's GRA, that's the implementing agency, and the stakeholders who are not happy about the implementation. That's GUTA and the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders. We'll take a break here and we'll be back to delve into further issues. Don't go away.
Receiving money from abroad with MoneyGram is now as easy as a bank alert. Now you can receive money from your loved ones abroad in minutes, anytime, 24/7, directly into your bank account. Let's show you how. Tell your loved ones to send you money online or from a MoneyGram location and give them your bank account details. Your money is then transferred in minutes and you can receive your money straight into your account. Your money is available to you anytime, rain or shine, in just minutes. Available in select banks in Ghana. For more information, visit www.moneygram.com.gh. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Welcome back to Point of View on City TV. Before we went on that break, we started getting into understanding the matter surrounding the cargo track note system, which began today by way of its implementation. We'll continue with the discussion. Let me come to you, Mr. Yankee. Mr. Yankee, the freight forwarders have put forward their case. So has GUTA. Alarmingly, the freight forwarders are saying that the elements of valuation assurance, weight, security, the essential things that the CTN is supposed to do, it's non-existent. So why then are we hailing it as the last stop, to quote you, the last stop in terms of all the measures that are being put in place to ensure that we have a robust revenue generation system at our ports?
I think the answer is not far-fetched because, data cannot validate itself.
But there must be a system of validation.
Yes, that's why the goods that you are bringing, the supplier or the exporter will include the HS code. So if it is this notebook, they will, with the validation, they will put the HS code, so you can verify and see that actually we are describing this thing. This is one of the issues that we raise, and that it's not working for us. That the way we classify goods, because this thing, because it passed through our unfortunately to say that the agents, because we deal with them. You as an individual cannot deal with customs. You need these agents to come and they process your paper for you. So we have found out that some of the values that they present to us, most of the time we have to uplift them, and it's become an issue. So we think the CTN will verify or validate the data that we've received from the listing.
How?
Yeah, we have a benchmark. We have a benchmark to compare what you are presenting to us.
That already
so
exists. Beppe, what he said, that already exists.
Oh, it's not working. Let's try
so what is this already is not working? Then what's the proof that this would work?
That's why it's an improvement of what used to be happening. So let's give this CTN time and see what will come out of it, because I believe that it is a fun solution to the trade malpractices that we find in this country. We are losing revenue, and it's a concern to management of GRA and customs. So we think that this one, let's tell me what you are bringing in. Give me the nature of the goods, its functions, because in customs there are so many under the HS code. There are so many products there. It can perform similar goods, but it depends on how you classify it. If you don't get it right from day one, from point one, you get it wrong, and you are losing. That is where we are coming from. That enough is enough. Let's try this one and see whether it will work for us. And we are very sure that we will get. That's why the government has even come to absorb the fee in paying for using the city in Ghana.
He speaks about trade malpractices. Is that a matter that is of concern to you as freight forwarders?
Of course, it's a matter that's of concern to it. But if
the system is going to correct it, you should support it.
No, brother, you know what? I'm a bit heartbroken, when I hear this. I won't blame my brother so much. I know where he's coming from, and look, he has to do this. He's not the policy maker.
From all you've said, in principle, you agree to the improvement that can be made on the current system.
Exactly, but I'll tell you
but your contention is that they are going about it the wrong way.
Exactly. Listen, customs, the core mandate of customs is valuation and classification, and my brother would affirm to that. It is the core mandate of customs. Why did we take this business from the destination inspection companies? Exactly. Because we knew this was a core mandate. Their only problem at the time was the technological, the technology to drive what they were doing. And so that is why we took it away from the DICs. And basically, they have done it. I'll give you figures. Last year, customs target, and he will confirm this, the customs target was 13.9 billion Ghana cedis. Customs collected, with all this noise that we're making, they collected 12.6 billion. It was only 1.3 billion shy, right? All the time, that's about 91% of the collection rate. You call them horrible? That they have the hardworking men of customs have been able to do the evaluation, perform their core mandate, and collected 91% of your target. That target itself, we think, is a little bit too high. So come to it. What do you say? You tell them, oh no, I think you're doing badly. But believe me, even we have made recommendations on areas where they could get their, maybe their targets
areas such as.
Oh, believe me. Look, I'll give you one. Such as. I'll give you two. I'll give you three.
Yes,
I'll give you auctions.
I'm listening.
I'll give you auctions. We are operating the most horrible auction regime in this port. Our port has become like a candy shop. Containers are being given to people on checks. But go and read the law and see how auctions should be done. There's nothing mentioned about checks being given to go and pick containers in the port. It says public. There's nothing like a private auction. That's a matter of fact. Let's just leave that. Exemptions. Do you know how many containers? The number of containers that go with exemptions, exempt duty, are almost the same as the number that pay duty.
We're talking about the exemptions that are passed by
exactly, the exemption regimes. You understand? So please, they are the ones that are statutory. Outside the statutory ones, there are a lot more exemptions being given. Go and check them out.
So if they want to increase the revenue, the system is already there. They should look at
my brother,
what we are talking about.
I am telling you, it's so easy. I'm this near do well here. I'll tell you that. Look, they should look at the transit regime, the transit itself. Look, this is 2018. With all the technology that abounds in this world, we are still crying over how to track GPS tracking of containers leaving our country and how is not the re-export system from our warehouses. This is heartbreaking. Listen, in all of this, if you can do this, you do not need this. I am telling you, if they listen to us and just go on these things, there's one other one which is even more serious. Look, if you come to the banking sector here, the issues of clone checks, the bank fraud in the system, and I'm not going to take anybody out.
In the ports.
In the ports.
Including the freight forwarder.
Everybody. So go and do your search and find out. I'm not going to say anything. If it's criminal, it's criminal.
But right? It's some of these more practices that they want to check.
Are you going to use CTN to check that? Is that what CTN is going to check? No, these are things you can check from here. Just do one forensic audit on auctions that have happened maybe in the last 2 years, and it will marvel you what you find. Why would I bring in a container where I have to pay maybe 80,000 Ghana cedis, and then you give a check to somebody to come and pick it up for 40,000 Ghana cedis, and you tell me you want revenue? Revenue doesn't grow on trees, my brother. You see, the other thing that, like I was telling you, the figures for last year, this year is going to be worse. You know why? Because the ex-president Kufuor said something. He said, look, money hates noise. This port, this area, has been bombarded with so many. Everybody seems, look, let me touch it. That is where I can make some money.
But the perception is bad. They say agents
believe me, but come one year, what you have?
There's a lot of corny things that goes on. The perception is not good. You would agree with me.
With all the cornishness, you made 91%, right? Good. I want to keep reminding you of that. With all the cornishness, you made 91% of. See, what it claims to do, like I was saying, it cannot do. I've given you areas where they have to look. Then again, like I was saying, this port alone has been taught. The reason why I said, look, money hates noise. Since the inception of this year, these are all things that have come, policies and issues that they've tried to meddle with in the port. We've talked fumigation, you have cargo tracking notes, you have Unipass crying somewhere, it comes up and then goes away. Now you have CTN. If you disturb that, that system, then you wouldn't find it. People are not, there's no consistency. Now they think, okay, I'm going to bring goods, whatever. What is going to happen? What's next? You said CTN. Okay, what is the charges? What are the penalties involved if I do not do CTN? So the shipping lines will say, okay, look, I'm not picking up any box because this system this one policy has been suspended 3 times.
Okay.
What the shipping line is going to do? They're going to sit down and say, look, we're tight. We're not going to pick the box if you don't have CTN because I don't know what's going to happen in Ghana. And there comes in the laws, the legalities, because there's nothing.
Well, join us with your comments and as the conversations unfold on the numbers that are showing on your screens. Let me take some of the comments. Now, this one from Osika in Achem Kwabing says, Guta and freight forwarders are crying because they cannot pay the taxes and there wouldn't be anything like protocol again. CTN is, they cannot beat the taxes, yes, and there wouldn't be anything like protocol again. CTN is the way to go. Osika from Achem Kwabing. And this one from Fifi Nadenta says, what is the problem with verification? Is it the fact that they are planning to feed false information into the system already? I think for the benefit of the country, they all must rally around to ensure the success of this CTN and government receive its due in terms of taxes, because we all know transactions at the port is only enriching a few, and this is why they are against the implementation of the CTN. Wow. This one says, I think the freight forwarder is hinting on points that the customs should take up. Fred Dumenu from Ho says government under the MPP has nothing to offer freight forwarders except to find out innovative ways of exploiting them. Why do you do this to innocent businessmen and women? Let's look at the but the messages can still come in, and we would read them by way of your contributions to the discussion that we're having here. Mr. Yes, Mr. Yabwa. Let's look at the consultation so far, because the pilot started in July. Went on, said we're going to implement it fully in September. Freight forwarders threatened the strike. Yeah. It was called off. There was supposed to be some consultations, so that all the rough edges would have been smoothened for a smooth takeoff. Has Guta been consulted? Within this
definitely Guta has been consulted, because initially we said, look, let us really delve into this matter and see clearly what we are going into. So there's been a lot of talk. I see, whilst all this was going on, there are certain few things that Guta we observed. Look at it. Per their customs, their own assessment, they said they are just collecting a little over 50% of revenue at the ports. That assertion, I don't know how they found out. But look, the target they made last year. Then we realized that they are going to absorb costs. Government is going to absorb the cost. From the checks, it's about $100 per container. They are doing CTN. If you are bringing about 500,000 containers per year, we are talking about $50 million. So per what they think they are losing and they are targeting to collect, and what they are going to pay for doing that job, there's something missing there. And then all these things, I'm looking at, what is it all about? We've got to realize that it's all about compliance. That is what they are trying to say, that they want high level of compliance. Yes. But you see, the very certain is that we as importers have been crying since 2015 that, look, with the coming in of the CET, that's the common external tariffs. All the tariffs actually shot really high. And look, we were now, those who were around 10, 15% have gone to 25, 30% and all. Cumulatively, we are paying so much at the ports. I mean, it's so ridiculous that if you bring in goods into our ports, you have to pay well over 50, 60% of your total cost of
the CET.
Yes, not but the total cost of clearance. So if, let's say, you are bringing in about $100,000, you have to look for about $50,000 to $60,000 to clear those goods. It's so ridiculous.
And the CTN will add to it?
It has added to it. That's why we have gone that high. And you want compliance. The best way of compliance is what we were telling them. That let us sit down and holistically look at the cost of doing business at the port. We've said it when we met His Excellency. We told him, and he said we should holistically look at this. We are not looking at it. We are looking at CTN, thinking that it's going to help in compliance. It will not work if we are not looking at the core basic problem that we as importers face at the ports. You can't get any way out if we are not going to look at our plight. So we all judge and see how we are going to prune down that long list of charges, levies, and duties at the ports. And you want compliance.
Interesting. Let me get to you, Mr. Aki. It looks like the window that was, created between the 1st of September and today, which was the beginning of the implementation, which was to be for consultations. But from what is going on around the table, it looks like it's either the consultations did not go on, or they went on, but there was no agreement, or simply
too many questions.
We couldn't agree on something common that could facilitate the smooth implementation of this.
Yeah, I can confirm that we had this in consultation.
How many times did you consult them within
the
window?
The whole of September. I would say that every Wednesday we meet.
Interest groups did you consult?
Here will confirm. He was at the meeting, but I didn't even notice that he was there. Maybe he was not asking questions. He was not asking questions. But the point is that we were talking about, it appears our friends took an entrenched position. So when we are negotiating, and then you take maybe it's very hard to accept it. But look, I see that kind of thing. But you see, we are brothers. So this is what the government wants to bring on board. You may have your reservation, all right. But look as if they were not moving. Look as if they were.
But your stakeholders accuse you of bad faith, especially when there's a matter in court. You defy the fact that there's a matter in court and you go ahead to go and
as for the court issue, I don't want to touch it. But today, a reporter asked the Commissioner General the same question. And he said he has not
bad faith, or he's not been served.
Yes, according to he has not received anything from it. He doesn't even know the pertinent share. But the GRA one, our legal, the head of our legal was at the meeting, at the press briefing today. And they say they are looking at it. So maybe I'm not a legal brain, so for me to go into the details, but they've received the GRA one and they are looking at it. But for the Commissioner General, he says he has not reached. And I don't have any cause to doubt his integrity. And CTN say that he has received and is telling the media lies.
But the question about even whether this CTN has the requisite legal backing still lingers on and is still hanging. But we would come back to look at that after this break. This is Point of View on CCTV. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ever thought about where you'd really want to live or invest? Is it beautiful, modern, and sustainable? Is the architecture advanced with state-of-the-art facilities? What if I told you you could find it only 15 minutes away from Adenta? When your hard work pays off, you need to invest in the right place. High-quality real estate appreciates in value. But the value is not just your home. It is also the area that surrounds it. Good roads with safe speed limits, drainage for even the most punishing floods, and neighborhood planning that ensures your view will never change. You can also invest in the commercial, social, and mixed business spaces, as well as Apollonia Business Park. It's time to make your move to Apollonia City. Call or visit us today. Our payment plans are tailored for you. Visit www.apollonia.com.gh or call 0275 577 577.
City TV is live. City TV is a free-to-air digital channel. On a digital TV, please press menu on your remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a multi-TV digibox. Tune into City TV and experience your world. City TV, it's your world.
This is the Point of View. My name is Duke Bensopoko. I'm sitting in for a regular host, Bernard Avle. We're talking the cargo tracking note system. That's the CTN system. Before we went on the break, we're looking at the state of consultations that have gone into the implementation, which began today, and would take it off from that note. So, Mr. Yankee, back to you. I was asking about the legal backing with which the GRA is implementing the CTN system.
So far as I know, we use a Custom Act 891 to do everything that we do. You know, when we implemented the paperless, we didn't go to Parliament for the legal backing to do what we did. Oh, Mr. Akon, did he? There was nothing like that. So I don't know why the CTN, they are trying to bring the legal issue in there. I see it as an enhancement of what of the paperless. But it's all about automation. If
in any matter that involves the exaction of taxes and some form of revenue element, there must be some. I mean, at least from the little I know, as someone reports from Parliament, some of these things usually would come to Parliament. Let me even cite the example of the tax amnesty. It may not work well within that, but the tax amnesty was passed by Parliament before GRA, acting within its powers, implemented it.
Well, I don't know why, maybe, but I don't think it's an issue for us.
the freight forwarders thing is an issue.
I don't think it's a big issue. And I'd like to know about that.
But it looks like, I mean, and this it may not necessarily be an action that has been taken by the Institute of Freight Forwarders as a group, but there's a member who has taken it. But you seem to believe in his argument that they have no legal legs to implement this.
Of course, we support him 100%. And I'd like to say that, look, even that paperless is backed by law. The single window, they had to, after the 891, Customs had to go back to Parliament because of the single window to do the 923, which was an amendment, to the 891. So the 891 basically does a lot of things. One thing it does not do is mention CTN. Like I was saying, ASHI, which was done in 2015, had to go to Parliament necessarily so that all the fees were outlined in the schedules therein. What are you going to do with CTN? Okay, this is a mandatory thing you're bringing. You're asking somebody to do just this. Let me ask you a simple question, or you can ask Mr. Yankee. What is the penalty for a breach of the CTN? If I do not do CTN now, and I bring what are you going to do? We asked this question at the same committee, meeting Mr. Yankee was earlier
what is going to happen, Mr.
What is going to happen?
If you are not, it's a compliance to the CTN. So if there may be not work, there have to be some sanctions.
To be fined?
Yes, it has not been defined yet because now everybody is.
It began.
No, I told you it's an evolving kind of thing. Process. So with time maybe we'll come to a conclusion. If you are not non-compliant, this is what will happen to you. But at the moment, because our brothers are making noise, you have to just keep quiet and then bring everybody on board. And then with time, you redefine everything. So maybe their fears will not be there. That maybe they are brothers. We don't want to collaborate.
If I wanted to just finish that quickly on that legal, because there are a couple of them.
Yes.
So. Back to it. That's what I said. You have started the process. You said it's effectively going to start today, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And if I say that this is not defined, there is nowhere in the 891 where it's fine. Even when you have to do amendments to documents in customs, the fee for that is defined in the 891.
Yes, it must be
so, I just want to quote you. The Act, the Constitution of Ghana says something, 1911. If I could read that to you. Please, this is what it says. It says, no person shall be convicted of a criminal offense unless the offense is defined and the penalty for it is prescribed in a written law. That's simpliciter. If you do not define the crime that I've committed,
this is the Constitution.
This is the Constitution of Ghana on my phone. I carried this along with me. It's our Bible. You
understand? Because of litigation. Summary on that, of course.
How are you going to punish any? You haven't defined. You have to define. It says in a written law, so you haven't defined that. Apart from that, there are other international, conventions that they are going against. These have been ratified by our Parliament. In 2017, January, we signed up to the Trade Facilitation Agreement. In there, it tells you one of the documents that they have to use for this CTN, that is the export declaration. It is against the law to use. You shall not use it.
Okay, Mr. Akron, let me get to Mr. Eboa. Final comments for you. What's the way forward for Guta with regards to the CTN?
There's just too many questions. I don't know why they rush to do this if the targeted group is just even 5%. Why don't you really sit down and analyze it? Like I said, with us is basically more of compliance. And if that is really the reason, then let's holistically look at our import system and do the right thing.
Okay. So for you, there are still many more questions.
There are still many more questions that CD dollar is still killing us.
I'll give you the last word, Mr. Yankee. But Mr. Akron, final words. What's the way forward for GIF? Of course, your court matter is there. We called on the 31st, what I've seen. So you are looking to the court for a resolution to this, I guess.
The way well, that's part of it. But then the way forward, we should have listened to the Vice President. On the second suspension, he gave a reason and what could do something more than the CTN. Can I read it? If you want just one paragraph.
Okay.
Paragraph 4. Listen to what it says. It says, furthermore, the upgraded manifest developed by the National Manifest Committee actually provides more information. Now, this is a letter from the Vice President than the CTN. It provides more information than the CTN which only requires the shipper to file void details, bill of lading details, consignment details, container details, and consignment details specific to vehicles. The upgraded manifest and the upgraded systems for the consumption of manifest will be implemented in Ghana from June 30th, 2018. Its implementation, therefore, makes the CTN redundant and superfluous. Please find attached a table that shows the difference.
And this is from the Vice President?
This is from the Vice President.
Okay. Final comments, Mr. Yankee.
So, Mr. Akwa, would you say that he has revised his view about this one? Because he's supportive of the CTN.
Says who? I can tell you.
Maybe this is the initial.
So, Mr. Yankee, you are saying that the position has changed. What's the way forward for GRA?
I think now,
listen to the stakeholders, put it on hold, consult some more, get all the rough edges playing out.
I can assure you that we are still talking to our brothers.
So we still go ahead and still consult?
Yes, we consult. So they should take the case from the court. And then let's talk. But that is the way forward. Because at the end of the day,
the GRA is asking for another settlement. The two stakeholders, that's Buta and the Ghana freight forwarders, are still looking to the court for resolution. That's one of the many things that they would want to look at in terms of the resolution. Let's quickly go through some of your comments. This one from Kweku in Spintex says CTN is bad and it will not help importers. This one from Stanley from Abelimpe says this try and error business at our ports makes GRA's argument laughable. It seems GRA doesn't know which way to go. If you mix politics with business, this is what will happen. That's your view, Stanley from Abelimpe. This one says, good evening to your panelists. I think the GRA and the government has to focus on their work, especially with the CTN policy. Whatever issues surrounding it should also be dealt with by the GRA. Abu Sadek from Shoman Estate. So those are your comments. This has been the point of view. Thank you very much for joining me and for joining us. Mr. Benjamin Akron is Benjamin Yabua. Is welfare officer for the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Eddie Akron, executive secretary, Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, and Mr. Johnson, Yankee, chief revenue officer, communication and public affairs. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope that you have been given some insights with regards to this cargo tracking, but from the indication, it's not going away anytime soon. My name is Duke Mensopokwa. You're sitting in for a regular host, Bernard Avlet. This has been the point of view. Good night.
The Point of View is sponsored by Apollonia City,